I won't do that again.
What? Just keep giggling. Just giggle through the whole movie, the whole
No,
episode.
did you hear how I pronounced the movie?
Yeah, it sounded like you're a cradle of filth. The blessing, the curse. Cronos, welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Cronos.
Or, or the obsession of everlasting life. The search is over. A mystery 600 years old.
Well, the search was over.
The secret of immortality is living inside the Cronos device. I mean, all these taglines basically just spoil the whole movie.
They're true, but they're not really
Not very gripping.
It's just like a statement, like the library has books.
Guillermo deserves better.
I think so.
Should have wrote his own taglines.
Tagline should have just been "Watch Cronos."
Cronos, the movie, out now.
There you go. That's all you need.
This is episode 198 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Aurora.
I'm Gunther? I have no idea. I didn't look at the cast names.
You're the alchemist.
I am R.I.P. Ron Perlman's nose job.
Katie is bleeding man.
Yes.
No, I take it back. Katie is drunk.
Hey.
I should have said I was Cronos.
Yeah,
I was
I'm
right
not
there.
yet.
your Cronos device.
I'm the bug in it, in the Cronos device.
Well, if that didn't spoil it for you, this week we are talking about X by Ty West.
We're talking about Triple X by Vin Diesel.
The sequel though with Ice Cube.
Yes.
State of the Union.
We're talking about 1993's Cronos, which I believe is Del Toro's first movie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
What a banger to start your career with.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's like he just doesn't miss. I'm very interested to see what his Pinocchio is going to be like.
Is that... Oh,
what?
Never mind. Well, got confused because there's an animated Pinocchio coming out that everyone's making fun of.
Oh, there's 10 Pinocchio movies coming out this year.
Yeah.
At least Del Toro's will be probably just the donkey scene for 3 hours.
Oh.
So just be fucking
2
weird
hours
and
of the
horrifying.
whale.
Yeah. He just turns into a donkey and then gets eaten by a whale for 3 hours.
For some reason, whenever somebody says the donkey scene, that is not what first comes to my
You
mind.
think of Clerks 2?
Yeah. I was like, wow, this movie has really taken a twist.
Pinocchio absolutely should have a donkey show, though.
Oh, yeah. After that scene, that's what should happen.
He gets swallowed by the whale, and then inside of the whale, there's a donkey show.
It's just people throwing money at it like a stripper.
Yeah.
That's Del Toro. Get at us. Let us have writing credits.
Please.
I'm sure you're listening.
I think so.
Yeah, so this was Kit's pick, which I know Kit and I have both seen this before, and I believe this was Katie's first time watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Kit, why was this one of your picks?
Because it is Del Toro, and I think it's a really interesting take on vampires and vampirism.
Yeah,
it's got a cool bug. Sucker for cool bugs.
Anytime they show the inside of the machine, I'm fucking way in.
It's so dope. Also, Ron Perlman's great.
Yeah, it's so that's the parts of the movie where I was like, okay, this is like definitely a Del Toro movie because it's not just like vampire, then it's just like, yeah, tiny golden thing with this bug inside, and I'm like, okay, sure, makes sense.
Yeah,
It's like the entirety of the budget, other than whenever the dude loses all of his skin and he's like super pale and weird underneath.
it's really interesting because it's like the least Del Toro movie of all of his, which I'm sure was probably just comes down to probably like budget. I feel like he probably would have done more, but it's also not 2+ hours like all of his movies. So, oh, what? It's post-eating yell time. So Xerxes is going to be a guest for a while. Katie, what'd you think about this?
I liked it. It wasn't. I didn't know anything about it except for like obviously the idea that vampires. So I wasn't really sure like what to expect at all. And it's like definitely different than I thought, but I really liked it because it's kind of more like I hate to say slice of life movie because that's not what it is, but it sort of is. It's kind of just like this man going about his like life, and then he's just like, whoops, I'm a vampire. And then like having to deal with the consequences of like stumbling onto something that was like just like insane.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it's basically you're just like tossed into like, I don't know, a week of this dude's life, and it just happens to be this week where he
it's a bad week.
Yeah, Ron Perlman just murders him.
Yeah, wow.
Ron Perlman in this, just killing it as always.
Yeah, I think I haven't actually really seen a lot of movies with him in it, to be honest, aside from like obviously Hellboy. So I'm not really used to see, like, I don't really know, like, I don't know him outside of that. Like, he kind of plays, like, obviously he's, like, a kind of, like, the tough guy. He's, like, the higher, you know, whatever. But he's kind of, like, bullied, and I'm not used to seeing him in, like, a way where he's, like, kind of vulnerable or whatever, if that makes sense. So I was, like, and he's very young, obviously. This was 93, so I was, I had no idea he was in this movie. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Here we go. I love how he just like half of the time speaks English, even though like nobody else does.
You know what he is in that you've seen?
What?
Justice League, the
Batman.
Flashpoint Paradox.
Who is he?
Deathstroke.
Okay.
Also, your favorite Alien Resurrection.
Okay, well, my point
Nick
was
Cage's
I feel like this...
Season of the Witch and Sleepwalkers.
Nick Cage's Season of the Witch?
Yeah, it's some not great Nick Cage movie in like the medieval times or some shit.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, yeah, I liked it. It was a very like different take on like it said, on vampires, and it was just like very random, and I appreciate that it's just like we said, him just like going about his life, and then there's just like this crazy thing that they're like, this exists, and then we're just like, all right, I guess so.
Why not?
So
I've seen weirder.
Here's the real question: would either of you use this device if you came across it?
Bro, I've wanted to lick blood off the toilet floor every day of my life.
Oh my god.
I mean, I hate to break it to you, but you could do that in real life, I'm sure.
Disgusting. I was like cringing during that entire scene.
And also the blood looks so like goopy because it's probably blood that had been sitting there for like long enough that it just coagulated. That ugh.
I like when he chops it up like into lines like it's Coke. Like, what are you doing, pal?
My answer is I don't.
He's gonna keep yelling. Just ignore him.
It's fine. I don't think I would. because this version of vampirism doesn't seem fun. Like the
you
whole
get cool
point.
skin.
Well, I
No,
mean,
I
it
don't
seems
think I want to
fun.
look like that.
It seems fun until you get murdered and come back to life.
Yeah, and like I don't know, the whole point of like of it in this is to kind of like just keep living and prolong your life. But like it doesn't seem, I don't know, it just doesn't seem fun. I don't want to look like a fucking chewed up piece of gum. You know what I mean? If I'm living forever, how do you go out in public and stuff?
I feel like if I knew what it did, I would probably do it. But the minute that thing starts popping out legs and shit, I'm done.
Oh no. Oh,
yeah,
hell no.
Why are you
All
yelling
right.
at the bathroom?
There's blood on the floor.
Oh,
Look it up.
shit.
He wants to
I'll
go-
be back. I go in there and get some blood off the floor. He
He'll
found
get
my,
it for you.
my pre-dinner
Love that
snack.
toilet blood.
Blood stash.
Sir.
All right. Well.
Come on. This is unacceptable behavior.
Whenever the dog is like barking or being like dumb, I'm like, that's embarrassing. And then the look on his face.
He woke up and realized Caitlin is not here. So I think he's
yeah.
just like, where are you? And he's just like walking the house yelling.
Hello?
This is
Hello?
our first time living in like a 2-story house. So sometimes Merlin gets lost. And like we'll all be downstairs or something, and he'll be upstairs just yowling in the hallway, and it like echoes because he's like, "Where are you?" And then we're like, "Merlin, we're downstairs." And then he'll stop, or he'll like come down, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Cats are
Crazy.
the weirdest.
They really are.
All right.
They're incredible.
I think he's calmed down.
Incredible babies.
I think he's allowing us to continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so basically, this movie starts out with like kind of a backstory where we find out that in 1536 there was a alchemist who escaped the Inquisition, because it's always the Inquisition, and basically,
What were we talking about? The demons episode that you said was all time before like our time.
1800s.
Yeah, you were just like, yeah, I think everything's the 1800s. It's like before 1980.
I was talking. Why were we even talking about that?
Because the church.
The church, yeah. And I was trying to figure out like what, because like the beginning of that is like ancient feudal times because there's like knights and shit. And I was like, I don't know. I literally have no concept of time. Like this could, okay, so this is 1536, right? I can't fathom that being 1600s. Like I can't fathom that being real. Like obviously I know it was, but if somebody came out and was like, by the way, we made that up, like the world started in the 1800s, I'd be like, duh.
Yeah, that would just be
Absolutely.
you getting unplugged from the Matrix.
Like honestly, yeah, I can't remember dates at all. So and anytime someone's being conquered, I'm like, of course, it's the Inquisition, duh. In 1801.
You know,
So
John Carpenter's Halloween taking place in the Inquisition.
yeah, 18. Yeah, obviously. Okay, so this alchemist basically was designated by the viceroy as a clockmaker, and he started just like making watches and clocks and whatnot, and then he was made to basically make a device in addition to a pocket watch. They also wanted him to make a device that could grant immortality, as you do. They go hand in hand. So that is basically what the Cronos device is. And then we're doing some credits. Oh no, they show him
falls
doing.
on him.
They show him doing some crafts, and then basically, so that was 1536. In 1937, a building collapsed, and they pulled out a gross-looking guy, and he was mortally pierced through the heart by something during the falling of the building, and It was The Alchemist.
So now that we're at the credits, I want to talk about Guillermo Navarro, the cinematographer of this movie, whose credits include, so he's got Cronos, The Devil's Backbone, Hellboy 1 and 2, Pan's Labyrinth, and Pacific Rim, and then Twilight Breaking Dawn 1 and 2,
Yes.
Stuart
Amazing.
Little, Spy Kids, Night
it.
at the Museum 1 and 2,
my
Dr.
God.
Dolittle, the absolute perfect movie, Spawn.
Okay.
It
just keeps getting better.
What a king.
Honestly.
Desperado, 4 Rooms.
Listen, you had me at Twilight. I dare you to find a more cinematographically beautiful movie than Twilight.
I said Stuart Little right after that.
I am not getting into Stuart Little again.
Kit, have you seen Pacific Rim?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, it rocks.
Is it? That's like the one that I have always put off watching of his. That I'm just like, because I don't know. It looks like all that CGI. It just like puts me off. So
it is. It's good. It's not, just like, oh, here's some shitty CGI for shitty CGI's sake. It all looks really good. Very pretty movie.
Yeah, I need to watch that because I think that's the only one
Also,
I haven't seen.
Rocket Elbow.
I don't know what that means, but I'm interested now.
I really liked it, but I haven't seen it since like it first came out, so I have no idea how it held up.
I watched it a month ago. Still rocks.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in rewatching it. Chris and I really liked it at the time. So
I've been meaning to do like a full filmography rewatch of his, so I'll get to it sometime. And like this
Mimic.
year,
Yay.
Mimic fucking slaps.
Time has been kind to Mimic.
I saw that movie at a theater with no idea what the fuck it was.
Hell yeah.
And it rules. Honestly, he doesn't have a bad movie in his filmography. Like, at all.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Like Blade 2 is probably the worst, and that movie rules.
Yeah. Well,
give us Hellboy 3. What the fuck?
I know. I still haven't gotten around to watching that new one though, so I don't know how I feel about it yet. But
yeah, I haven't heard anyone say it's good.
Okay.
Which is kind of a bummer because David Harbour is like a pretty decent casting. Like, it's not Ron Perlman, but he looks cool.
He's a totally fine Hellboy. It's everything else about the movie that's awful.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Bummer. Well.
All right, that was the credits.
So that's what happened during the credits, by the way. So now we're basically just introduced to the main characters, who are Jesus, who is the grandfather to Aurora, and Mercedes, who is his wife. And they're basically, we don't really, I don't think, find out what's the deal with it, but basically they have, not ownership, they have custody of their granddaughter, and they're like taking care of her. And Jesus and Aurora have like a very sweet relationship together. So basically, like, the main character, who is Jesus, has a antique shop that he runs, and him and Aurora go and like open it up for the day. She just hangs out with him at work, which is super cute. And so a customer comes in and is like touching stuff, and he's like looking around, and he starts looking at the statue that is kind of like an angel, I guess, that has like an eye missing. It's like cracked. And he's like looking at it, and he leaves like kind of sketchy, like, right? Later, Jesus and Aurora are doing a puzzle at the shop, and the statue that the guy, oh shit, I totally just skipped over an entire part.
I mean, honestly, everything up until the opening of this like angel statue is just like, hey, this guy runs an antique store. Hey, here's Ron Perlman, who's getting yelled at by his uncle.
Well, okay, because what happened was, you said now that we're at the credits, and we weren't yet. Like, literally the only thing that happened was after they found the alchemist dead, they went to his house, and found a bunch of crazy shit, like including that there was a lady that was like strung up upside down and he was like bloodletting her. And then they're basically just like, we don't know if the Cronos device existed or not. And then they pan over to the angel statue. So now that angel statue obviously is at the antique shop, right? So later they're doing a puzzle and they're just like chilling, and all of a sudden a bunch of cockroaches start coming out of the eye of the statue.
Awful.
Absolutely not.
I would burn my house down if that happened.
Throwing that shit into the ocean.
Yeah, the whole house.
I would throw up on it and then burn it down. There's no way. They were like fucking. They were very gross. They were coming out by the swarm.
I like the idea of you using like throwing up on something as like a defense mechanism. It just happens like somebody stabbing somebody. You're just like, blah.
Yeah, I don't think so. I would toss my cookies in a second. So. Yeah, they see the cockroaches and they're like, ooh, oh my god, and they're like investigating the statue, and Jesus finds out that basically the statue comes off of the base, and then he pulls something out, and it's the Cronos device.
More cockroaches.
A cockroach gun.
A gun made out of cockroaches.
Okay, so I got questions about these cockroaches. Number one, how long they've been in that thing? And how they survived.
Well, the eye is open, so they can come and go as they please.
But, like, how long has he had this statue?
I don't know.
Again, Del Toro, I know you're listening to this. Just
let us know.
Hit us up on Twitter at Gordon Scramsey. Let me know.
I assume that it's like a new acquisition because when the customer shady guy was like checking all of the statues that he had, there was like paper on it on some of them and like not paper on that one. So I feel like I guess he just got it, even though they don't show that to us, but it's whatever. Yeah. So okay, like I said, I did not know Ron Perlman was in this. So I was just like, Ron Perlman answers a phone call from the shady guy, and then I just called him Ron Perlman the whole time. I don't know what his name was. Oh, it was
Angel.
It was like Angel and Hell. But I'm gonna call him Ron Perlman because you have to, right? And he basically answers the phone of the shady guy. I'm just gonna call him Hellboy.
Yeah, Hellboy's in this movie.
That would be sick.
Hellboy should just pop up in all of Del Toro's movies. Like, what's up, guys?
Honestly, what is stopping that from happening?
He should do it like that dude in Mortal Kombat. Whenever you hit like an uppercut, he's like toasty.
all of the like.
He shows up, Hellboy.
What I want is them to dub all of the like Spanish into English for every movie, but every character is Ron Perlman. Like, doing his best to impersonate those characters.
Aurora's like, Godfather. That wasn't a good Ron Perlman voice, but you know. So he answers the phone, and it's the shady guy that was like the customer in the shop from earlier, and basically he tells him about the statue being there. So Ron Perlman's like, cool. Goes upstairs to this huge like sealed medical room, and he does this stupid thing that people do now where he puts on a mask, enters the room, and then once he walks up, takes it off. And I'm like, what's the point? Why did you put it on to begin with?
For fun.
And as he's like,
ahead of the curve.
I guess so. He's like bringing in a tray of food, and like as he's walking through the corridor, there's like all of these other identical angel statues like hanging from the ceiling everywhere. And this is when we get introduced to his uncle, whose name is De La Guardia. And Ron Perlman is basically just like, hey, what's up, you old fart? Can you sign this updated will? And they basically argue about how, like, Ron Perlman is this guy's nephew, and he is, like, waits on him hand and foot but he's also kind of like a bodyguard sort of thing, but he's like very mistreated, and he's like doesn't believe like in this like device or whatever, but his uncle is like, you have to go to the shop and like get the statue. And they kind of argue about it because he's like, well, you have literally thousands of statues, like this is crazy, and he's just like, just not gonna do it because he's a piece of shit. So he goes to the shop and buys the angel statue from Jesus. And so at first, so like Jesus is like, of course, like, let me wrap this up for you. He's like wrapping it up in parchment paper. And Ron Perlman has these like cards that he's holding up to his nose and asking their opinion on what kind of nose he should get for a nose job, which I thought was insanely weird until I realized why. And then it made me really sad.
I just like the idea that he'd ask everybody he comes across.
Yeah, what do you think about this nose? Also, it's just like a drawing of a nose outline on a card. So I'm not really sure how you feel like you can get a feel for what it would look like on your face. But, you know, it was medieval times. So,
well, wasn't it wasn't the card didn't it have like a cutout that you put like
to put,
kind of
yeah. Nose.
It had a cutout, but then also like a cartoon drawing.
Man, they thank God since like the 1400s they've come up with better ways to do this.
Yeah. So so he buys the statue, not knowing that Jesus has already taken the Cronos device out of the statue. And so later that night, Jesus is like cleaning the device off because it's gold, and it's kind of is in the shape of like an egg, and it has like carvings in it is the best way, and it's golden is the best way I can describe it. And there's like a little knob on it that he ends up winding, and it then it like pops out these skinny legs, kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like a scarab sort of. So it like retracts
I
these
think
little
that's
legs.
the idea, is it's supposed to be like a scarab.
Yeah, and it grips onto his hand, onto his palm / like stabs into him, and I was like, ooh,
seemed painful.
Very painful. Also, you don't know where this thing came from, like.
Also, apparently there's a living bug in it, so
yeah, and he doesn't
great.
even know that part yet.
What if it latched onto your butthole?
Oh.
I mean, I assume it would have to
like a bad time.
It just latches at a certain spot so that when like the tail comes out.
What if the tail goes in your butthole?
That's what I was saying.
I hate that so much. I can't even think about it.
I wonder if there's a porn version of Cronos. Let me see.
Pornos.
I was gonna say it's just that porno movie or whatever that came out a couple years ago.
Wow, I wish I don't know. I don't wish that movie was not great.
Honestly, all I want is every Del Toro movie to have a porn version where it's just weird monsters, and all of them.
I really think there's a market for it. To be honest with you,
there has to be a Hellboy one, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'll find out.
So this thing stabs into his palm, and it hurts, right? So he rips it off, which I can't imagine feels any better. And then we cut to his wife Mercedes, who is giving some dance lessons. Hey, girl. And
I've fallen into a place I do not want to be.
Hellboy's butt,
which is Hellboy animated.
Oh yeah,
pictures.
That's what I expected you were gonna get. Was gonna be like hentai.
Getting the hell boner.
Oh no, Abe Sapien and Hellboy, what are you doing?
Oh man.
I don't like these ones where they just like Photoshop a dick onto like Ron Perlman Hellboy.
I'm just picturing like Abe Sapien giving Hellboy a hand job, but like seeing his future or past or whatever by touching it.
A lot of these pictures just look like fucking Thanos, but red.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just do thick Thanos, where he's
Yeah,
like
that's what it is.
on
That's
his
what...
like hands and knees, and just add on Hellboy's head.
That's literally all they look like is the thick Thanos, like just butt out, just fucking like all red though.
Hell yeah.
Ew.
Respect.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Search history just in case.
Yeah. Yep.
You just start getting ads. Hellboy's dick.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping my Instagram ads are now.
I've said it out loud to my phone.
Or it's
so
like
I'm screwed too.
It's one of those like booby mouse pads, but it's Hellboy and the boobs are his butt.
Balls.
So it's like jiggly. But oh, okay. Well, I do not. Let me be very clear. I'm not interested in that.
I'm setting up an Etsy shop.
Do you think Del Toro would watch like if someone, because he seems like somebody that's like very interested in like, you know, when people like post fan art and shit. Like, do you think he's ever seen?
He's definitely seen them.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think he thinks it's funny. I think he gets it kicked out.
I bet he's like one of those people. I could see him just having like the weird fan art in his house somewhere.
He seems like he respects creativity of all kinds.
Yeah,
and that he'd be into
I think
it.
So. Yeah, for sure.
I really want to tweet at him and ask him now, but I know he'll never see it.
I know.
Next
time he goes to a con,
I was gonna say I'm afraid of
the
responses I'll get from random people searching shit on Twitter.
Oh my god, yeah.
You have one of those tweets that winds up in an article.
Right, a BuzzFeed article just about fucking weirdos harassing directors.
These fans asked Guillermo del Toro about Hellboy's dick.
Oh my gosh. I can't keep going down this hole. That's what she said. Okay, so Jesus goes to his wife to get her to help cleaning out his wound, and he kind of lies about what happened. He said he cut it on some glass. And so later that night, he's like hella thirsty. He's like having hot flashes and stuff, and he's like really struggling. He's like on the floor like, you know, something's wrong. And then his palm is really itchy. And so he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to like fucking put this device back on my hand. I don't know what else to do.
That doesn't seem like the right move.
Right?
That's why, like, that's not what I would do.
I agree, because I was like, he got it. Once that happened to me the first time, I would be like, well, first of all, I wouldn't be holding it like that. Especially because when he ripped it off his palm, he like held it up to his face. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, what if that grabbed onto your face? I would not be interested at all. But he seems like he's kind of jonesing for it. So maybe it's like...
Well, so the way I see it is it's supposed to be like addicting or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, do you think the hand or the chest is worse?
Oh.
What if it made his hand smell good and that's why he did it?
Well... Because, like, at least the hand, like, the first time, like, the tail doesn't happen. So once it's, like, on his chest and the tail comes out, I was like, no, thank you.
I think it would be worse on... I think the chest would be better because... so, yeah. So he's, like, going through withdrawal, I think is what they were trying to, like, emulate here. And so he gets the device back out. And he does it. He, you know, does the device or whatever. And, so this time, though, it, like, grabs onto his hand, and then the tail comes out and, like, punctures into his wrist, which to me looked like, it, like, gave me chills. Like, I was very uncomfortable watching it. Because, like, that seems, like, more painful to me than your chest.
Yeah, the hand is the one.
Maybe more...
When it grasped the hand, I was like, okay, that's terrible. But then when on the chest, when the tail comes out, and I'm assuming punctures his heart, then I was like, okay, that's probably worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like either option, to be honest with you. But, of course, Aurora, his granddaughter, is awake and sees him do it. This is the first time we see inside of the Cronos device, and we see that there's some kind of weird bug inside of it. And it hasn't been explained to us yet, so we're just like, what the fuck? It's like a meaty looking, I don't know, even, I said worm, but maybe it kind of I don't even know what's going on with it. But he's like, oh, whatever. And she's like watching the whole thing, and he just looks up and is like, don't worry, I'm fine. And I was like, all right, sure. The next morning, he wakes up and looks in the mirror, is like checking himself out, and decides that he's just going to shave his mustache off. And he comes into the living room and like shuts the curtains and is like, oh, it's so bright in here. And his wife like looks at him and is like, what's going on with the mustache? She's like really into it. She's like thinking he's looking hot. And he's basically just like, I don't know, do you like it? I feel so much better and I feel younger and stuff. And she's like, okay, crazy. And he's just like, okay, I'm going to my shop. So he leaves for the shop, but once he gets there, it's like trashed, which is just heartbreaking. And while he's kind of like looking through the rubble of all of his antiques that are broken, he finds the card of the company that De La Guardia owns. And he's written on the back of it, we're open all night. And he's like, okay. So he goes to the factory, which I'm not really sure like what the company does at all, but
I assume produces cards for nose jobs.
Yeah, that seems about right. So he goes to meet with De La Guardia, and basically he tells him that 40 years ago he found a manuscript inside this book that belonged to the alchemists, and he learned about the Cronos device. And also he mentions that there are very strict rules about using the Cronos device. And I'm sure inside Jesus's head, he's like, oh, shit. Because he's now used it twice, just like willy-nilly, like just fucking around, right? And De La Guardia also tells him about how there's a bug inside that acts as a living filter for the blood. And he goes on and on about how bugs are God's greatest creature or some shit. Jesus is just kind of like, okay, and he's just and De La Guardia is basically just like, look, I'm dying. I've been through like every surgery you can think of, and he's got all these jars in his like in his room with like his body parts in it, and he's basically just like, these are all my body parts. I'm basically not even alive anymore.
That's such a fucking baller move.
To be surrounded by your body parts
just
that
be
have
like,
been extracted.
I still have these because the fucking dentist would let me keep my wisdom tooth. So
yeah,
I was like, bro, that's literally my property.
It's my property. Yeah. And so basically, like, while he's like explaining all this stuff, Jesus is like, looking at the jars, and De La Guardia grabs the box that the Cronos device is in. And he's looking at him, and he basically can tell that Jesus has used the device. And he's just like, well, you shouldn't have done that, essentially. And then he like basically calls Ron Perlman up to kick Jesus out. And he basically says, we both have something to lose. And so Jesus leaves, and he doesn't get very far before De La Guardia realizes that the Cronos device is actually not inside of the box, and he comes over the like PA system and is just like, that's fine, you can keep it, but I'm not telling you how to use it properly. And then Jesus is just like, whatever. So he goes home, and he goes to pull out the device and finds out that it's missing. And he realizes that Aurora probably took it. So he finds her basically hiding, and like basically tells this like story about Aurora's dad, and about how like something kind of similar happened where he like stole his cigarettes because he was like, sad about how cigarettes were like killing him, essentially, whatever. And it was just kind of like a story about how like he thought he was helping, but he really wasn't, or something. And so she gives the device back to him. She was keeping it in her teddy bear, which seems really dangerous, but
this movie would have been way better if she ended up using it
by accident.
The teddy bear.
If it like
the teddy
latched
bear's a
onto her
vampire
face.
now.
Oh shit!
Ooh,
This movie would have
I
gone
love it.
off the rails. I tweeted at Del Toro to ask him if he's ever seen a porn parody. So if he answers, I'll let you know.
Of Cronos or Hellboy?
Of just any of his movies.
Okay.
There's
no
way.
I have a full library.
There's no way there's not a Shape of Water one.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Pacific Rim
no
has to exist of just giant fucking robots.
Shape of Water 100% does. There's no way that it doesn't. Okay, so he gets the device back. He uses it immediately again, but this time he does it on his chest, like where his heart is. And I literally wrote, seems like a bad idea. But he thinks it's awesome. He's like really into it. He's definitely obsessed. But then he pulls it off and he like touches some of the blood, and he notices that it's like sticky, which was very disgusting. I'm not sure what was going on with that. So he does this.
I assume half of his blood is now cockroach venom.
Yeah.
It's actual roaches.
Oh man, he just
scuttling along.
He cuts himself open, and it just turns into that last segment of Creep Show.
Wow. Oh, he does this right before they go to what turns out to be a New Year's party. And at the New Year's party, he's like dancing with his wife, and they're like having a good time, and they're being all like lovey-dovey. It's like they're young again. Aurora is not having any of it. She's like bored out of her fucking mind. They're just like dancing, having a good time, and then he like notices that there's a guy that has a nosebleed, and he's like, attracted to it. So he follows the guy to the bathroom. First of all, this entire scene made me very unwell because he follows this guy to the bathroom. The guy is in the bathroom bleeding all over the sink and the floor, and he just fucking leaves it there. And then, so Jesus goes in there and is like looking at the blood, and he's like, oh my God, that looks delicious. And so he's about to like lick blood off the sink, but then some other dude comes out of the stall and it's just like, oh man, they're leaving this stuff all over the place, and just like uses his hand to like push the blood into the sink. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? This whole scene, I was like, no.
I literally just can't stop thinking about what the porn version of this would be now, and it's not great.
Oh my God. No, please, we don't. So yeah, wipes all the blood off with his bare hands, and is just like, haha, whatever, leaves. Then that's when Jesus notices that there's blood on the floor, and he fucking gets down on the floor and starts licking blood off of the bathroom floor.
It's so weirdly erotic, and I hate it.
It is, which, like, to be fair, I feel like a lot, like, it's almost impossible to have some kind of vampiric scene where they're drinking blood and have it not be that way. But it's like very odd because it's like a grandfather. He's like an older man. You know what I mean? So it's like unnerving. Yeah. The floor, my guy, no. Oh God.
Yeah. I had to get it off the counter, but he got caught.
I was gonna say the sink is acceptable. The floor, no way. Yeah. I've been in a men's restroom. I'm sorry. Pretty bad.
The sink is also not acceptable.
I mean, look, the sink hopefully isn't covered in dried urine, so.
I think it probably is.
You'd be surprised.
I think 9 out of 10 times it is.
I assume he's not in a Speedway restroom, so.
I know. To be fair, it does look like it's the scene is shot really well because the bathroom is extremely bright. And it's like very nice marble. It's like white marble. So the blood, it's like a good scene, but it's made me so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, it's really good. It's just like I also hate it.
Yeah. So he's licking the blood off of the floor, and we just see someone's shoes. Oh my God, could you imagine if they were bare feet? I would probably throw up.
Oh, that's what this movie needed. Was Ron Perlman to be barefoot the whole movie.
Somebody walks in and basically kicks him in the head and knocks him out. So which is very alarming. It of course was Ron Perlman, and he basically like roughs him up a bunch. He like Jesus wakes up in Ron Perlman's car or someone's car, I don't know. And they're like overlooking the city basically, and he starts like roughing him up because he's like asking him where the device is, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And Ron Perlman basically like knocks him out again, puts him in the car, and then pushes the fucking car off a cliff.
I mean, at least it lands right side up.
Like, but so basically, I was just like, wow, that escalated so quickly.
Look, like, if you were getting yelled at every day by your shitty uncle who has like 2 organs left in his body, I would also just be like, fuck it, I'm done with this. Just push you off a cliff.
Yeah. So basically, like, he pushes the car off the cliff. Jesus is kind of like leaning out of, I don't know if it was like the window or the windshield or whatever, and kind of like talking to himself about like the fact that he's dying. And then it just kind of like cuts. The scene was ridiculous. It just like cuts to basically him at the morgue, and the mortician is like trying to fix up his like his wounds, and he's like, his assistant is like talking to him about like, oh man, you're doing such a great job, that looks so natural. And then he's just like, too bad he's being cremated. And the mortician's like, what the fuck, why wouldn't you tell me? I spent all this time like trying to fix him up and like whatever. And then he's kind of like, I don't know, the mortician's kind of gross if you ask me.
I don't know if I remember the mortician.
There's like a scene where he is like chewing on gum, and he like takes the gum out of his mouth and like puts it on his overalls while
that's right. Yeah.
Drinking or something. I don't know, but he's like a little disrespectful if you ask me, but it's fine. So then De La Guardia calls Ron Perlman up to ask about Jesus. Ron Perlman is like down in his little fucking, he's got like a tiny little room, and he's like listening to an audio tape about nose jobs. And so he goes up there, and De La Guardia hits him literally in the nose with a cane. And this is where it came to the point where I was like, oh, he wants a nose job because his uncle just like fucking beats him in the face all the time. And I felt so sad, even though I just watched him kill somebody. And I was like, I don't appreciate this, like being made to feel sad for him, but it's because he keeps getting his fucking nose busted. So basically he's like, where's the device? Like, why did you kill him? Like, we're never gonna find it. And Ron Perlman's just like trying to lie about it. And he's like, oh no, like he killed himself. I didn't do it. It wasn't me or whatever. And De La Guardia is like, I know it was you, but like, you know, did you check his heart? Did you like pierce his heart basically? Did you like check to make sure he was actually dead? And he's just like, I mean, I saw him, dead is dead. I saw him. And De La Guardia is like, no, like you need to go and check his heart, because like, as we saw with the alchemists in the beginning, like their hearts need to be pierced in order to actually kill them. So, even though Ron Perlman's like, I don't fucking understand what you're saying, but fine, like I'll go do it. So Ron Perlman goes to the funeral, and he like goes up to Jesus's like body in the casket and like holds onto his nose to make sure that he's like actually dead. Like that he's not just like holding his, you know, like pretending or whatever. And he's like, okay, I guess. So later the mortician goes to cremate Jesus. But the pilot light on like the cremator like blows out or something. So he goes downstairs to like check on it, and then when he comes back upstairs, he like lights the thing back up and doesn't notice that like the lid on the coffin is up right now. He just like closes it and is like, okay, see ya, and like pushes the coffin into the cremator. And then like Ron Perlman is like, hey, that guy was my friend, can I say goodbye to him? And he's just like, he says something like, you want him extra crispy or something like that. And I was like, oh my god. It's fucking terrible. And
It's like every fucking mortician in a movie is just the worst.
yeah, I mean,
Then
I
you have that
guess
guy from that Night of the Living Dead fucking movie we did.
Yeah,
Other
or
ones
the
that I can't think
guy,
of at the
or
moment.
or the guy from the Day of the Dead TV series, also the fucking
Oh
worst.
yeah.
Like, so it cuts to Jesus, and he is just like on the street. His mouth has been sewn shut for the viewing, and he has to cut it open, which can't be great. And he's like stolen a suit that he puts on backwards for some reason, and he's just like being like wandering around the street trying to figure. I mean, like, he just died and came back to life, obviously, so like he's a little out of sorts. But he finds a newspaper that has his obituary in it, which has got to be insane. He calls his wife to like talk to her, but he can't like get the words out, so she hangs up on him. And so he ends up going to the house and meeting with Aurora. And even though he's looking pretty gross at this point, she's like not scared of him at all, which is just so sweet. He's looking pretty gross. And she brings the device to him, and he puts the device on, and basically she cleans out her little toy chest so that he can sleep in there because the sun's coming up and it's like burning his skin. And
it's
then
got
later that
real
night,
like let the right one in vibes at this point.
yeah, it's just like so sad because their relationship is like so sweet, but obviously the circumstances behind what's happening are very sad. Then that night he starts writing a letter to his wife Mercedes about how he's actually alive, and he just like has some unfinished business to take care of, and he really misses her, and like eventually he'll return to her or whatever, which I can't imagine. That's got to be real fucked up for her because she like went to his funeral and stuff.
Right.
And then she gets a note where he's like, "I'm alive." And I'm like, "Okay." So then he goes to De La Guardia's facility, and when he's like sneaking up there, he realizes that Aurora has followed him, and she's got the device, and he's like, "No, hide it, put it away, don't let him know that, you know, you have it or whatever." So the door into De La Guardia's like medical room is locked, so she like goes in through the little like food slot or whatever and lets him in. They're looking around for the manuscript, which is like the instructions on how to use the actual device correctly. But De La Guardia is like awake in there and sees Aurora find like the book that the manuscript was in, and he comes out and he's just like, "I knew you'd come back, but you're not going to find the instructions. There's missing pages because I ate them." And I was like, "Okay, bro, calm down. You probably don't have any organs left to be digesting paper, so maybe that wasn't a good idea." Jesus is just like, "Okay, why am I so gross? Like, what's happening to me?" And De La Guardia is just like, "Oh, just peel it off. Just peel your skin off." And he's like, "What?" And De La Guardia like reaches forward and just starts like ripping skin off of Jesus' face. And I was like, "Okay, you don't know him like that, but fine." They rip his skin off, and it's like he doesn't rip it off all the way at this point, but it's revealing this new skin underneath that's like extremely white, like porcelain white with like gross blue like veins underneath essentially. And meanwhile, while this is happening, De La Guardia has hit a silent alarm to call Ron Perlman up there. Jesus is basically like demanding an explanation as to like, why is the device doing this to me? Like, you know, you said that I would live forever, but like I'm all gross and stuff. And he's basically just like, "Oh, well, yeah, because you need blood, human blood." And he's like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." Jesus is like mad about it essentially, and it's just like, "Well, I don't want to live forever. I just want to be normal again. Like, I want to live my normal life." And De La Guardia's like, oh yeah, no problem. I can totally help you with that. Just give me the device. And Jesus is just kind of like, I don't really trust you, but he gives it to him anyway. And then De La Guardia like attacks him, and they like fight. They're like struggling around a little bit, and then Aurora hits him in the back of the head with his cane, which you go, girl, because he definitely deserved it.
So he's I think like, isn't he like trying or slowly starting to like stab him through the heart or whatever when she hits him with the cane?
I mean, probably. Because essentially De La Guardia was like, yeah, I'll help you get free from this. And, like, what he actually meant was he was going to fucking kill him.
Yeah, he, like, stabs him in the gut or something a couple times. Then when he's on the ground, he's got, like, whatever he's getting. He's, like, kind of slowly inching towards his heart. And that's when she, like, hits him in the head.
Yeah. Hits him in the head. So he's, like, on the ground bleeding. And Jesus feeds from him. And, Aurora's just like standing there watching, and I was like, this is probably not great for a child to be seeing. She's like 8 years old, probably. Ron Perlman comes in.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, she seems pretty well adjusted, I guess. She's like,
we don't know that. We don't
like,
see her as an adult.
Rolling with the punches, you know. Ron Perlman comes in and sees that his uncle is dead, thinks he's dead, and he's like fucking excited. He's like, fuck yeah, I hate you, you're terrible, you're the worst. But then he notices that his uncle is not actually dead, and so he just like steps on his fucking neck and breaks it. And I was like, oh.
Hell yeah.
Well, I mean,
Respect.
I hate to say good for you, because you're also terrible, but good for you. Get your nose job, boo. So, Jesus and LaGuardia is dead. Jesus and Aurora, hit Ron Perlman in the nose again, which is like funny, and escape out a window, like onto the roof, and he like follows them, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like not really sure why he cares about them anymore, but whatever.
Yeah,
and Aurora,
go live your new nose life.
That's what I don't understand. Is the minute that I went up there and killed the uncle, I'd be like, all right, goodbye.
Yeah, see you later.
My only thought is like maybe he wanted the device so that he could live forever,
just attached to his nose,
and like
replace his nose with the bug.
Oh man, what if your nose was the Cronos device?
That would be pretty sick.
You'd look so cool.
That's the porn version.
I'm getting a tattoo of just the Cronos device over my nose.
Okay, do it.
Cronos device.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, my only thought is that like maybe now that he actually because like the whole time he thought his uncle was full of shit, and now he's seen that the device works. So when his uncle died, he's like, yeah, I have your estate, everything's mine now. My thought is maybe he just wanted to live forever so that he could like enjoy it. I don't know.
My theory is that he enjoyed being a murderer, and then now he's not, so he's got to go finish the job, so he's still a murderer.
He's a murderer again, though, because he murdered his uncle.
Yeah, but
he just did it.
So if that's
justifiable homicide,
if the person's already gonna die, are you still a murderer?
Okay, I guess. Well, yeah,
probably if you step on
I see. Yeah, I see
Fair.
what you're saying. When they hit him over the head and he crumpled on the floor, I was like, well, there's no way he's gonna come back from that anyway. He could barely. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I feel like once you've already only got like, I guess, a heart and maybe a fucking colon in your body, like you're basically dead already.
Yeah, he had like a heart and lungs, and maybe that's all. When he fell, though, his lungs definitely collapsed. Like, I think he was done for.
I like to assume his lungs were just Ziploc bags.
I feel like if he could have still had the device at that point, maybe he would have been okay. But like, I don't know. Anyways, he's dead.
Would you want?
And he sucked.
I mean, I guess being a vampire changes it a little bit, but like, I don't know. If I used the Cronos device and all of my organs were out of my body, I would just be like, what am I doing? Or I'd put them back.
mean, so here's my thought, right?
Put them in weird places. Like,
take one of the people that you kill for their blood, you can just take their organs.
Yeah, because like once the organs are out of your body, they do not work. They're like in formaldehyde, so they don't work anymore.
Yeah, but it would just feel like you'd feel complete again, I guess.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is like we only saw Jesus have the power of the Cronos for like one day before he got murdered. So I feel like if he would have stayed alive, he would have kept just getting younger and younger, like because his blood was being replaced. So I'm wondering if like it like brings you back to life, kind of. So I don't
know if because the other guy that at the beginning of the movie looked pretty fucked up. But he
I'm assuming he died though. Like the only reason that Jesus looked gross is because he died and came back. So as long as you don't die the first time, I feel like you probably just stay hot and young, you know?
I just assume it's like any other vampire movie where you just stay like the age you were, but you're just kind of like fit or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll never know because Ron Perlman fucking killed him.
Yeah, we should have had Ron Perlman come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Can you explain all of these logical fallacies in Cronos, please?
From
this movie
30 years
you
ago.
Haven't probably watched in 30 years.
Right.
He'll be like, a nose job. What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. Yeah.
What if he was like, oh yeah, I still got those little cards?
Oh my god, dude! That's if I ever went to a con and met him, that's all I would do. I wouldn't even say anything. I would just be like, hey, just put the fucking card up to my nose, and he'd be like, I don't know what you're doing. Get out of here.
Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? That would be such a cool like memento to keep from the movie, though. Like how unique of a thing. He just like has them in a glass case. That's so weird. Okay.
There's in his wallet still.
Hey there. Oh my god. Okay, so Jesus and Aurora escape onto the roof, and she's like climbing down a escape ladder, or whatever it's called. It's not called an escape ladder.
An escape escalator.
Yeah. Just slowly riding it.
She's just standing there watching him. A fire escape. She is escaping down the fire escape. And Ron Perlman is like trying to fight Jesus, still not really sure why, but Ron Perlman's like hitting on him with a stick and stuff. And then Jesus just literally leaps at him, and him and Ron Perlman fall off of the building through the air, and they fall onto a glass roof. Aurora comes over and uses the device on Jesus, and he comes back to life, essentially. And he stands up, and he's got, like, a hole in his stomach that he sticks his fucking hand into, and at first I was like, bro, but it's okay because it's just like his old skin that he pulls off, so it's not like,
yeah, don't worry about it.
It's not a hole into his body, but it looked very disgusting. And these are the moments, like the fucking bug in the Cronos, because we see it a few times, and then like all of the stuff with the skin, this is like where you really get the feeling for like where he was going with his effects.
Yeah.
So it's like that's part of like what was nice about this movie. Oh, okay, so then it's like it's just his old skin, he pulls it off, it's fine. There's a moment where he like kind of like walks up to Aurora and seems like he is tempted to like eat her or like feed off of her. But then he fights the urge to do that, and he pulls the device off, and he throws it on the ground, and he says, I am Jesus Grease, and then he stomps on the device and kills the fucking bug.
Rude.
Yeah. So basically, you know, he like made the choice, like, I don't want to be a monster, I am who I am. And then it just shows him laying in bed with Aurora by his side, and Mercedes, his wife, comes up to him and holds his hand, and then it's just the end.
Yeah.
Wow. So sad.
Everybody should watch this if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I know we spoiled what happened kind of in the very, very beginning, but
I mean,
it was
it's
good.
it's a really good movie, and also like a really interesting look at like a director that's gonna just become like a fucking master of the art at like, you know, what they kind of like their first stab at you know, a feature length movie, and it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Got Ron Perlman and a bunch of other people I don't know. I assume a bunch of other people that went on to be in other Del Toro movies.
Oh,
Hi,
he needs
Kate.
Curly
Hi,
Ron.
Holly.
Yeah.
Holly's here.
About
What do you
time.
think about? I know.
Holly's
Where
like,
you
I'd
been? The
lick
movie's
blood off
over,
the floor.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely
I
would.
heard you got floor blood.
I was starting to wonder where she was. The movie's over, girl.
Polly, what's
Well.
the news this week?
Oh, honestly, I didn't see any except for before we recorded, I was talking about how they just cast Misha Collins as Harvey Dent in this new crazy CW Gotham show that I'm 100% going to watch. And then the only other news around really is that beautiful screenshot we got of Nicolas Cage as a vampire.
God, I can't fucking wait.
That I am living for a little bit. So
like I assume for whatever, because like the way his makeup is, like I assume the movie's either black and white or is going to be in one of those like weird kind of like filtery color things.
It does look a little like a caricature of what you assume Dracula looks like. So yeah, that's a good call.
I can't wait. The movie's going to be something. I don't know if it'll be good, but I feel like at least Nick Cage is going to do something weird with it.
It'll be something for sure. I mean, if Vampire's Kiss has given us any hope, like it'll be something to behold.
It's been really cool, like in the last like 2 weeks, where like I guess you know that massive weight of whatever the fucking movie's called, the one where he's playing himself, is coming out and premiered and stuff. And he's been doing all these interviews, and like he did some interview where, of course, somebody was like, "What do you think about Marvel movies?" And he was like, "I don't know why everyone's upset about movies. Like everything can coexist, and like comic book movies are cool." And,
honestly,
and then he did some interview where people were asking him about his like direct-to-video movies, and he was like, "Fuck that, man. I stand by every single performance I did. I did those to get out, like, you know, I got out of fucking debt. I never phoned any of it in."
Yeah.
And he's just a king.
It has like more and more recently, I feel like people are starting to not just for some reason think that he's a joke for literally no reason. Like, so it's like nice that people are finally like coming around to like.
I think Mandy and
him.
Pig did a lot for like rehabilitating that image.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah.
I hope he manages to get back into that kind of like Face Off, The Rock level type movies, but also continues doing fucking weird dumb shit like Willy's Wonderland. Just every year
I
there
think
should be
about
like 5 Nick Cage movies.
Honestly, I think about Face Off literally all the time. Like, why?
It's the best.
I just am so baffled by it still.
Like him doing that, Con Air and The Rock in like a 1 year period or whatever is just insane.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just the best.
Yeah, it'll be something. I have no idea when that movie comes out though, but
it comes out next month. It will
really?
Yeah, it will most
like...
likely be my return to movie theater. That's the one I will absolutely go see if it plays like at the theater across the street from me.
Okay, I was like thinking we have like a gift card to like the movie theater or whatever, and we were thinking about going to see the Batman, but maybe I'll just wait and see if I can talk someone into going.
I've seen like nothing but praise for that movie, so I'm really interested to see what it's like.
Yeah,
and
we'll see.
The Batman will probably hit HBO Max in like a month, so
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like. I'm not paying for it either way, right? Because I have a gift card. But I'm like, do I really want to sit there for 3 hours? Like, do I want to gamble 3 hours of my life to go out into the public and see this movie? I'm just not really sure. I'm not sure.
I know I'm going to at least enjoy the Batman, but it's like one of those things where I was just like, I don't know, fucking COVID is still terrible around here, and if I'm gonna risk something, I'm gonna risk it for Nick Cage over fucking a Batman movie. And I feel like that movie will come out and probably play in theaters for like a week because no one's gonna go to it.
Yeah, I feel like you have a really good chance of like there not being that many people there compared to like, I don't know how behind the Batman people are, like the masses, the quote unquote masses, but I don't know. We'll see.
All right. What did everybody watch this week? Kit, what did you watch without internet all week?
My Masters of Horror DVD.
Amazing.
What'd you?
Then before that, I saw X, and that's been about it.
What did you think of X? Because I thought
it was really good.
I downloaded. Well, I guess I'll say I don't really like Ty West as a director to begin with, but like I just downloaded like a bootleg of it, and I don't know. I was like, Mia Goth is good in it, but other than that, I was kind of like, I don't know. This just feels like 5 other movies I've already seen. But at least he didn't put Lena Dunham in this one.
That's
true. I always forget she's in House of the Devil, and it bums me out.
She's in The Innkeepers too.
I haven't watched Innkeepers in a long time.
She's like on the phone or some shit in it. I don't remember, but I know she's in it.
The idea
at least
that she exists just makes me want to not exist also. I hate her so much.
R.I.P. to her dog.
I have no idea whatever is happening in her life, but I don't want anybody's dog to die, so yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was like a whole saga like 3 years ago, where she just like suddenly stopped posting about her dog, and people would piece it together that she had like secretly given him away or something, and was mistreating him or some shit. Like,
yeah, it checks out.
It was wild.
I don't know. I think my biggest issue with X is like all I kept seeing was people being like, "This is one of the most innovative horror movies I've seen in a long time," and I was just kind of like, "Is it?"
No, like I mean, it's Ty West just modernizing.
It was like
Texas Chainsaw, but making it real horny. I appreciate what he did with the villains. You know,
I was gonna
kind of making them a little sympathetic.
I was gonna say that it just kind of like it just really felt like he made House of the Devil with like porn shoot in it or whatever. But I guess I haven't seen House of the Devil in like a long time. I was like, but you know, like it just had that like vibe to me where I just kept seeing people just talking about how it's like the most innovative movie they've seen in years, and I'm just like, okay, come on.
Nah, it's not amazing, but it's really fun.
Katie, what'd you watch?
I actually watched a lot of stuff. I watched that documentary Bad Vegan, and what a fucking weird documentary. I didn't really know anything about like what it was about, and it really just I could not understand anything that was happening in it. It was insane. I watched Lord of Illusions for the first time.
Hell yeah.
Props.
Not my favorite.
I knew that was coming.
Unbelievable.
Not my favorite. I'm just gonna leave it at
Clive
that.
Barker?
Clive Barker.
Yeah. Not my favorite. I also watched Munchies.
Hell yeah, you hated it.
I did not like it at all. I to be very honest with you, did not even finish it.
The movie's great.
I watched.
It's so stupid.
I also watched. I rewatched actually a bunch of stuff. I rewatched Once Bitten, which the older I get, the more and more problematic I realize that movie is, but I can't help but love it because we watched it when I was younger a lot. It's just like that Jim Carrey vampire movie.
I mean, there's a lot of movies like from that time, like that.
It's right,
are
exactly.
Not great, dialogue wise, but like, I mean, that's how I feel about like Dirty Work and stuff. Where like I'll forever stand Dirty Work, but it's a lot of
and we've talked
sex worker jokes in that movie.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like discourse about this too, where the movies from like the 80s and 90s were just like fucking obsessed with like people's virginity and like taking virginity, and you have to have all of that stuff, and so obviously that was like not so much of a problematic thing at the time, so like whatever. I still really like it. I also rewatched Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, it was great too. Speaking of problematic.
Yeah, but you know what? I love our King David Arquette in it too.
Yeah,
and then I also rewatched. Yes, it's just great. Like, unfortunately,
Christy Swanson
whatever
died
the fuck
after
her
that
name
movie came out.
is like honestly, yeah. R.I.P. And then I also rewatched Adventures in Babysitting, which also perfect. I love that movie. And then I watched finally Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
And I immediately texted you guys and was like, I cannot even wait till we talk about it to say just how fucking stupid that movie was. And I'm really bummed because I genuinely liked the first two. I saw both of them in the theater and I was into it. This movie was terrible. It was boring and it was stupid. And I don't what happened? What happened here?
Honestly, the way what I think happened is I think they had an idea for a sequel that then they did the Twilight Breaking Dawn or the last Harry Potter movie where they were just but if we make it 2 movies, we can make more money. Because it feels just like the middle act of a movie stretched out for an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
And my big thing too is that it is. Wait, did this movie come out last year?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out
the year before.
During the pandemic and got pushed back and all that. It was one of those movies.
Okay, so the year is 2021. This is the 300th fucking Halloween movie. We don't need you to spend an hour rehashing the story behind Halloween. Let it go. It's the beginning of the movie is a flashback. We have a flashback from that fucking cop 3 times the movie, and I'm just I can't. The ending, you're all just gonna stand there and watch him just I don't know, whatever. I hated it so much.
That was the best part. He fucking kills everyone that was a dipshit throughout the whole movie.
It's the only part of the movie that's good is the kills. And I don't know.
I didn't think that any of them were that great.
They're not great, but they're vicious. So
yeah.
It works, but it's also I don't know. None of it feels like Michael Myers to me in that movie. It's just, I don't know. It's a very strange movie that I don't understand.
No, yeah, I agree with you. It did not. I just am. And it was just obnoxious too. There's just the fucking angry mob yelling for I don't know, whatever. I hated it.
I hope the next movie they kill. There's no way they're not killing off Jamie Lee Curtis, right? They're gonna end her storyline. But I hope they do the smart thing because you can reboot these fucking dumbass movies a million times.
Right.
End this storyline by killing her and Michael Myers. Just end it and just reboot it because they're going to anyway. So somebody please kill one of these fucking villains.
Nope, better idea. He kills Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers wins, and then they make another Halloween movie where she's a clone or perhaps an android
in space.
Yes.
There's an army.
Let's
There's 30 Jamie Lee Curtises trying to fight him.
Let's do it.
Like that scene from Matrix Revolution.
Honestly,
and Michael Myers is just stabbing 100 Jamie Lee Curtises.
If you take Halloween into space, I'm in.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm fully on board with 3 more sequels if they're all in space.
So
Or
perhaps
after
one in
watching,
hell.
or hear me out. Michael Myers in Atlantis.
Yes. Done.
okay,
El
that's
Dorado.
Like, at least
okay.
go dumb as shit with it.
Right, honestly,
Michael
yeah,
Myers versus all of the robots from fucking Maximum Overdrive. That's the crossover.
yeah, I like it. I would watch that one. Um, so because I was like so depressed after having watched that, I cleansed my palate with 2005 Cursed, which is still perfect, and I love it so much. CG obviously doesn't hold up, but I just like love that movie. So I think that might be it. And then obviously stuff for bonus episode, but
All right. I watched a bunch of shit because I'm unemployed and just sitting at home. So I started just watching all of the fucking movies I've bought over the last 2 years that I never got to. I watched a bunch of Jess Franco movies. So I watched Oasis of the Zombies, which was not good. The Sadistic Baron von Klaus, which was also not great. I watched John Carpenter's Someone's Watching Me, finally. Also, like, just very good. Really good made-for-TV movie.
I don't think I've heard of that.
It was a made-for-TV movie he did right after Halloween that is about this lady just, being harassed by somebody stalking her that, like, she never sees. And it's really creepy and has, like, a real, like, Halloween. You could tell he came right off Halloween in it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Well, I love a made-for-TV movie, so.
I think you would like it. I watched Siege from 1983, which is a fucking banger. If you could get the Severin Blu-ray, I highly suggest it. It's about the city during a police strike. You get dropped into this gay bar that all of these dudes come in and kill everybody but one guy in this, like, just insane hate crime. The one guy escapes and just, like, gets brought in this apartment complex by this group of people, and then it's just assault on precinct 13 of these people protecting their apartment from all these people. And I won't spoil the ending, but it's fucking great. I rewatched Starman by John Carpenter. Still great. The awful Dr. Orloff, which was an early Jess Franco movie that was not good. I then watched Showgirls and the documentary You Don't Know Me. Just both very good. Showgirls, still perfect. Everybody that hates on that movie is incorrect. I watched Talons of the Eagle, which is one of the movies Vinegar Syndrome re-released on, I think, 4K. That's got fucking Billy Blanks from Tybo fame in it, and it's pretty good. It's fine. I watched a bunch of Marvel movies with Caitlin. I watched My Pet Monster. Do either of you guys remember My Pet Monster?
Yeah.
I used to have one, and I don't know why. I was like looking at it, and then I was just like, I'm gonna see if I can find the VHS from this on YouTube, and I did, and I watched it, and it's terrible, but I still gave it 4.5 stars because I love it.
The monsters are like so iconic.
The monster in the VHS
them.
was made before the dolls came out, so it looks nothing like that other than that it's blue or whatever. It's very weird. And apparently I was reading into it, the dye that was used in the suit that the person wore dyed their skin blue for like weeks.
Oh my god.
Seems not great.
No.
Rewatch Castle Freak. Still good. I watched a movie called Shot that is something else Vinegar Syndrome put out a long time ago from like 1973 that kind of felt like Deadbeat at Dawn, but not as like grimy. It's just like this weird, almost home video style like cop drama that is pretty interesting. If you could watch it for free, I'd recommend it. I bought it used, so it was like not a big problem that it's not great. I watched She Killed an Ecstasy, was a very good Jess Franco movie, and a movie called Shining Sex. It's a very good Jess Franco movie that is, The Shining and sex.
Oh, well, of course.
I rewatched Willy's Wonderland. I watched Warriors of the Year 2072, which is just a banger Lucio Fulci post-apocalyptic movie where the entire movie is basically one giant lens flare because it's just all of the set is surrounded by colored lights, so everywhere he puts the camera, it's just weird, insane lens flares that I assume probably gives people with epilepsy problems. I watched Schizoid and X-Ray, which Vinegar Syndrome also just put out, and neither of them are great, but they're kind of fun, slasher movies. I watched a bunch of Evil Bong movies for an episode of Diary of Doom that'll be out next month, and oh man, not good.
No, thank you.
We made it to the real racist ones, so you can look forward to that.
That's saying something.
Oh my god, dude, you watch the first two, you have no idea how bad these next three get.
Yeah, no, thank
including
you. Nathan was snapping some of it, and that's enough for me.
But you do get to see the Ginger Dead Man fuck it and cream all over somebody. So, you win some, you lose
that's
some.
Okay.
I finally watched Scanner Cop and Scanner Cop 2.
Amazing.
Oh, they're so good. They're so much better than the regular Scanner sequels. The Scanner Cop 2, with that dude just scanned somebody into melting them into a fence. It's so good. I watched Robo War again, but I watched the audio commentary for it or whatever. Reform School Girls, which is another one Vinegar Syndrome just put out. And it's pretty great. I'd recommend that. I watched a movie called Zombie Cop, which I don't recommend. I watched John Waters' Polyester, which is the only full-length I hadn't seen yet by John Waters, and it's a perfect movie. High recommend. And then the last two things, I watched Stone, which Severin just put out, which is a 70s, biker kind of Mad Maxy type movie. And it's fine. It's not my favorite genre, but it's probably one of the better ones. It has a bunch of people that would go on to then be in Mad Max. Because it's an Australian movie. And then the last one I'll talk about is Ouija's Halloween Night. Which, I can't say is good, but is infinitely better than Evil Bong. It,
wow.
is a lot less racist, at least. But it's got, those insanely stupid and cool looking full moon puppet creatures. So go watch that on Tubi if you want. It's real stupid.
Iconic.
All right, shout outs. Katie.
My shout out is if you listened to our episode that we did on Stephen King's Cell, we had Deanna from Chat Cemetery, and I've been on Chat Cemetery a few times, which is the Stephen King podcast. She also has another podcast called Welcome to Geekdom, which is just general geekery stuff. And this month she was doing Gotham month, so she's done lots of different topics in the past, and more recently she's kind of been focusing more on superheroes and comic books and Star Wars kind of stuff. So if you like that, definitely check it out. I was just on an episode where we were talking about Nightwing / Dick Grayson, just in general, and it was super fun because Robin is my all-time favorite superhero character, and I feel I don't know, it was just our conversation was much longer than her episode, obviously, but it was great to just have an hour to just talk about Robin. So if you're into comics and stuff like that, definitely check her out. Like I said, it's called Welcome to Geekdom.
Was that have you been on that before? Or was that your first time on that one?
No, that was my first time.
Huh.
I've been on Chat Cemetery probably like 3 times maybe, but yeah, no, that was my first geekery.
All right, what about you, Kit?
Everyone should go read the profile of Nick Cage on GQ.
Yeah, it's good.
Tie back into Nick Cage because it's super good and gets into like him being misunderstood as like just some kind of like weirdo madman when he's like, no man, I'm just like pretty normal and chill and I like to act.
Yeah,
it's awesome. He has a shitload of cool outfits in it.
That leather trench coat
I want
one.
all of them. God, so dope. The white cowboy suit.
He's like the only person that could pull any of that shit off and like still be cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just wearing a leather trench coat under a fucking like what are those things called? Shit. The fucking construction equipment,
like a backhoe.
Yeah, like a
or
backhoe.
Whatever.
Oh, that picture was so funny. There was like so much good content of him this like week. There was a picture that Zach Baggins posted of him at the Haunted Museum, and it's just like, oh, Hobby's here. It was just like amazing. I loved it.
Thing for him to say.
Hi, Hobby.
I don't know. There was a bunch of cool albums that came out today when we were recording. There's a new Mayors of Thrace album, their first album in like a decade. A new Morrow album called The Quiet Earth. To Be Gentle released what is probably their final album. There's a new Proper album. Sometime since the last time we recorded, new Cave In pre-order went up. There was like apparently Val did part of the score to a video game or some shit.
Oh yeah, Orco. I can't wait to play that game.
So there's that. There's a new Soul Glow. Go buy some shit on Bandcamp. Also, Vinegar Syndrome is releasing Miami Connection in 4K with the sickest fucking box art. So everybody go give Vinegar Syndrome like $300 like I did. Alright, next week, the last of our picks for good movies, episode 199, we're gonna do The Void.
Oh yeah.
Kit and I are gonna rave about it. Katie's probably still maybe not gonna like it. We'll see.
I don't know. I'm really, I haven't watched it since it first came out, and as I've said in the past, I didn't like it, but I am a much different person now, so I'm like, I've been wanting to rewatch it and just like haven't, so I'm glad I finally have I have to. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's I can't wait to talk about that movie. I will. Everybody should just always have me on any episode they do of The Void. All right. If I think The Void might still be on Tubi. I know it's still free somewhere if you haven't seen it. It is let's see. Yeah, it's on Tubi, and then Hoopla if you have that and you don't want to watch commercials.
If you don't have it, just come over to my place and I'll show you my signed copy that has a chunk of monster meat in it. Yeah, that
kit may have been implicated in a murder, if I remember correctly.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
All right, if you want to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast. A couple days after this comes out, we should have an episode on 3 movies Irene picked. We'll see. If not, if we have to push that back, I'll release the Demons episodes, that episode Katie and I recorded on The Church and some other movies we watched. But Irene picked us 3 movies, 3 Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee team up movies.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be the next regular bonus episode. I also start a new job next week, so we'll see when we get to record that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You can buy merch. I don't remember if I said our Patreon address, but patreon.com/IHopeYouSufferPodcast if I didn't. You can buy merch at our storefront tier. Leave us a rating on Spotify and a rating and review on iTunes. Tell us your favorite porn parody.
I thought you were gonna say tell us your favorite place to put a Cronos device.
Tell us your favorite place to have your organs stored if you have them all removed.
Wow.
Tell us whose organs you'd replace yours with.
Yeah,
who
would you want to trade organs with? I'm gonna say. I'm trying to think of somebody who seems pretty healthy. Susan
I know.
Powder.
I was gonna. Ooh, what about Rob Lowe?
Man,
I
Rob
don't
Lowe
want to
did
take
so
away
many
from
drugs
him.
in the fucking.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't mean Rob Lowe.
You meant Rob
Damn.
Schneider.
That was a Rob Schneider. That was a very, very big misspeak. I meant Paul Rudd. I don't want to take anything away from him, but also he's got to have something going on, right? Like they've got to be great organs.
I think Paul Rudd's a robot, honestly. I think he might just be a cyborg.
Well, if he's not, give me that liver.
Kit, who you gonna trade with?
Brad Pitt.
That's a good pick.
Oh, okay.
Seems like he's got good guts.
Does he do things still? Like, I feel like I haven't seen him.
I think he produces a lot now.
Yeah, he produces a lot of like indie kind of movies, but also he's just in that, what is it, the Lost City movie that came out with Sandra Bullock and is it Channing Tatum?
Oh yeah, like
I don't know, it looked kind of funny. But he shows up because Channing Tatum's like a bumbling idiot trying to rescue her, and he's like the actual super slick hero guy that shows up in every movie.
I feel like a lot of those like really big name, like, you know, like Brad Pitt, like during probably our like teenage years was like the biggest fucking actor, right? And like there's like a bunch of those people, like even Sandra Bullock, where they just do these movies that like, you know, they're just like, this is gonna be the biggest movie, and then it comes out and everyone on Twitter just rips it apart for being just like a dumb piece of shit. Like shit like Don't Look Up or whatever that movie was.
Yeah.
There's all these movies these people do that, like, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio was like, okay, I'm big into environmentalism. That's what this movie's about. This is gonna be great. And then it came out, and everyone was like, wow, this is real fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's
hard to do good movies nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, Jackass Forever just came out. That's pretty good, I assume. I haven't seen it yet.
I watched it last night.
It's not bad. I saw it's on Paramount Plus, and I'm debating if I want to just set up a free trial or not, or if I just want to wait and just buy it.
Also, they had a thing where it was like, for 3 months, it's $3. And it was like 2 weeks ago or something. I was like, all right, I'm going to sign up because Jackass and Halo are going to be on it.
Are the other Jackass movies on there?
I haven't really looked around too much, so I do not know.
I'll tell you what, if they're on there, I will sign up. Me and you will do an episode on the Jackass movies.
Deal.
After I figure out what my fucking work schedule is like, we'll figure something out. You can follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. Follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery. Follow Katie at Werewolf Face. You can listen to my other podcast, Nate Kate Movie Club. Watch The Void. Get ready for me to talk about the Hell Basement for fucking ever. I can't wait. I hope you Cronos but nose job. I hope you Cronos butt on your butthole. There we go. I got there. Just one last thing to bum Katie out. This episode went some fucking places I was not expecting.
I will agree. I will agree with that.
I got done watching the movie and I was just like, I don't know. This doesn't feel like a movie that's like it's either we're gonna burn through the fucking plot or like none of it's gonna be funny. And I did not expect this to be the episode.
No, I didn't. I mean, I know Whenever I watch something that's like, I don't really know what I can make fun of, I'm like, we'll get there. I know we will.